September 11th, 2001, a date that changed America. It also gave us a close look at our first responders, law enforcement officers, firefighters, and emergency medical personnel, and realized just how important the job of these first responders is. On 9/11, Americans lifted up our first responders as heroes, and they were. There was a vocal majority here in our country who said we love and support our first responders and the sacrifice they make in keeping us safe. Now, 14 years later, that majority is relatively silent. But you can hear the bells of support starting to ring because we know that the vast majority of Americans support their law enforcement officers. Like Harris County District Attorney Devin Anderson recently said during Deputy Darren Goforth's execution while he was pumping gas in Houston, it's time for the silent majority to show their support for law enforcement. In the words that were spoken by Pastor Ed Young of the Second Baptist Church during Deputy Goforth's funeral services, they rang so true, saying this: "We run from the danger while you in blue run towards the danger, and you do the jobs to deliver us from evil." He then proclaimed support for law enforcement officers and said, "We have your back." Bossier Sheriff's Office deputies who went to Houston to pay their respects, they were getting gas there just before that funeral. They spotted a man working at the station looking around to keep them safe while they were pumping gas. He was saying, "I've got your back." I encourage all pastors, priests, rabbis, and all clergy leaders to take a stance this September 11th weekend and stand up for law enforcement. Stand up and support law enforcement and encourage all first responders in your congregation to wear their uniforms with dignity and honor at the church services on September 13th. Sheriff Whittington and the Bossier Sheriff's Office also stand with Governor Bobby Jindal, who has proclaimed September 14th, 2015 as a statewide day of prayer for law enforcement. Pray for the protection of those who serve in law enforcement and thank God for their willingness to serve others. Pray for fallen officers and their families. And then pray and stand up for those who protect and serve our communities and make the world a safer place. Sheriff Whittington will host the We've Got Your Back prayer rally on Monday, September 14th at 6 p.m. in the north parking lot just north of the football field at Airline High School. Everyone is encouraged to attend. Let's make it loud and clear how much we appreciate them. Let law enforcement officers know you support them and you condemn any assault on these men and women. Remind them that the vast majority of Americans stand united with law enforcement officers and denounce these recent murders of fellow officers. You know, our state of Louisiana has seen 9 line-of-duty deaths of law enforcement officers this year, second only to Texas, which has 10 officer deaths in 2015. Folks, we've been hit hard, and family, friends, and co-workers of these law enforcement officers are in sorrow. You know, the sad reality is that we do so well in honoring our law enforcement officers in death. It's time to honor them in life. Let's also remember to thank God for his blessings. And remember those words from 1 Chronicles 7:14. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray, seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. Stand up just like we did 14 years ago after our nation was attacked, and we fully recognize the sacrifice of our first responders. Let's not let another 9/11 occur before the silent majority awakens. The time is now. The time is now to stand and support law enforcement officers and say, "We've got your back."